What's up, everybody? Tony Gracia here with Corey, and we're going to go over a guard pass that I've been using a lot in my training lately. And this has only recently become a guard pass that I use a lot. One of the reasons is that I'm on the tail end of a knee injury, and this pass doesn't get my leg caught up in my partner's legs a lot, versus some of the previous passes I would use a lot, like knee cut passes and half guard pressure passes. My knee would get entangled, and I'm trying to avoid that just for the safety of recovering from my injury. So this has recently become one I use a lot, and I've been having some success with it, and I hope you like it too. So it's gonna come off of an open guard situation. So Corey's on his back, and he's in this sort of like feeder up sort of a situation right here. This pass exists both gi and no gi, and in the gi, I need to especially be aware of where I'm gripping and where he is gripping. I want to make sure that I'm not bypassing his legs and trying to go right for upper body grips, because he can tie me up a lot with gi grips and he can get four limbs on me, and that can make a lot of problems for my guard passing. So when I'm coming in and I'm approaching, typically what I'm trying to do is control his lower legs first, somewhere on his shins, anywhere between his ankle and his knee that's convenient for me to get. And I'm being very aware of trying to not let the bottoms of his feet attach to me. He wants to get his feet on me and connected like this, and I'm really trying to avoid that. So that's the first thing that I'm looking to do, is trying to make it difficult for him to do that. He might grab my sleeves possibly or something like that, and I just have to concede that that's gonna happen. It's gonna be impossible for me to make my grip without allowing him an opportunity to get his. So that's okay. It's not a big deal if that happens. We've got to live with it. So what I'm going to try to do once I've got this is start to create a little bit of a push and a pull pressure, as well as create an angle. I don't want to stay right in front of him. I'm going to want to try to move laterally a little bit. And what I'm going to try to do is, as I'm stepping a little bit to my left, I'm going to make his left leg go toward his own chest. And if the gi exists, I'm going to make a nice grip here, and I'm going to try to start straightening this leg out. So I'm pushing one knee to his chest, and I'm pulling this one towards me. Okay? From here, it should be pretty hard for him to tie me up with anything that's going to be a big problem for me. He might be able to lightly put his ankle on my ankle, and I should expect that he's going to do that because he wants to try to, get me in a half guard or something like this. Okay? But as we're doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep going to this angle, and now I've got him in a fairly tippy position where I can start kicking this leg up and out, stuffing this across, and coming into a nice pass right here. Note how I turned him from one side to his other side as I do the pass. What allows me to do this is that I've really got his knee jammed up here, and this one lengthened. His legs are going in opposite directions. And this lets me sort of turn him like a top. So again, I'm here, I get off to the side, I'm pushing this one up into his chest, I'm lengthening this one, which he's probably doing anyway to try to get to my legs. And I pick one leg up in the air, punch this across, and come down right here. I'll come around and try to get a nice control from behind right there. So that is usually what happens, because most of the time, he's actively trying to use his right leg or his bottom leg in order to connect to me. He wants to tie me up into a half guard, pull me in to get some control, and start working his passing game from right there, okay? If he doesn't, if he's very actively keeping both of his knees into his chest, that's a thing too. So sometimes I go here and I make my grips, and I get my angle, and I'm trying to pull this leg out, and it's really hard. He's very committed to keeping this knee inwards, and that can happen too. And I personally find that it can make it harder for me to clear all the way to a nice pass. He's kind of keeping the shield in here. So I can kind of go like this, but it's easier for him to stay on his side. Okay? So from here, the good news is that I can usually get in a situation where I can put a little bit of some top pressure on him. I get all of my body weight on top of his left side, on top of his left arm, on top of his left leg, and then I can spin around and get a nice back control from there. Okay? So it is one more step which adds one more layer of complexity and one more potential thing that can go wrong. But it's something that's worth practicing because those are the two big responses that I'm probably going to get from him. The one I see more, again, is that he's trying to get my leg from there. But he can't tie me up that much with only one leg. It's not going to work, especially if he can't reach my collar, which I'm intentionally keeping far away. Okay, so if he's trying to get me with that leg, then usually that one is going to happen. If he's keeping that leg in, if he's really committed to keeping it in, okay, now he might be able to get my collar possibly, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult for me to turn him. So I'm just going to smash it all the way down like this, and then spin and get his back from there. Okay, so there's our little X pass that I've been liking to do. And I also want to have a little bonus tip on this one. I didn't tell Corey this in advance, so he's going to be surprised by it. But one of the limiting things with my knee injury that I'm dealing with is it's hard for me when I get to mount to keep my knee safe, or especially if I get the back control. I don't feel safe having my hooks in because this is the angle that is rough on my knee. And without my hooks in, it's been pretty hard. Like, you can't really get chokes and the usual attacks very reliably. So I've been playing around with a different submission once I get to this spot. So we'll share this one as a little bonus here. So it comes off of the same pass or same situation. Okay. So I do this, okay, maybe I smash him down. I'm gonna spin around this way. Okay. What I do is I come up and I'm gonna try to sit this guy up, and we'll face to the camera right here. Once we go here, I try to go for the choke, and he's of course gonna fight it. And so what I do is I start controlling his arm like this, and I keep it down by his belt. And I'm gonna try to clear this arm out of the way, and I'm gonna start putting it behind his back. So now his arm is behind his back, and I'm gonna drop him onto that side and start pulling it up, and I get the tap there. So if you've been in class lately, I've probably done that a lot, and it's not a submission I ever did in my life until this knee injury, but it's been working pretty good. So let's just show it one more time. So he's on his side. I'm in this position here. And I can even just grab this arm right now if I want to. I'm gonna sit him up, okay? And I'm gonna keep this down, and I'm gonna dig for the choke, because if I can get the choke, I'm going to. And all of his attention usually goes to the choking arm, and it's not that difficult to get this out and behind his back. Now what I wanna do is I wanna drop him onto this shoulder so his arm is really stuck. And then I just would continue to keep my grip and force his arm up his back for the tap out. So I think some people call it a hammer lock. I don't know if it really has a name or not, but it's cool, and I've been doing it, and it works for me with my knee injury that I've been doing. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you like it, and yeah, we'll see you back next time.